one of the biggest pieces of advice I could give you if you wanted to start an equestrian center is work your ass off for years, learn everything you can learn, work at different farms so you can see how they operate, learn how to cultivate quality relationships with people. Um, Make sure you stay very open-minded, and having willingness to learn and pay attention to detail, and study business. Hi, it's Emily here from Royale Equestrian Center, and today I thought I would talk to you a bit about how Royale Equestrian Center came to be and why the heck are we starting a second farm. It's a long story. I'll try to condense it as much as possible. So a bit of back history. I have always had a obsession with horses. I guess it's a healthy obsession, but I've always been obsessed with them. I have loved them. They have helped me through very difficult times in my childhood. There's just something about horses that is so special and so unique. I love watching the progression in horses and riders, whether it's training young horses and everything they do, they're doing it for the first time, so it's always so exciting, and watching the riders really grow and flourish and become educated horsemen and horsewomen. I love everything about it. I'm a total horse nerd. I read medical journals. I'm always reading, learning, watching, paying attention. I just love it. It's my life. And I'm super lucky and so grateful to be able to do this as a career and share my passion with you. So, of course, I was always horse obsessed. I worked super hard. I never had any money. And even when we started this farm, I really didn't have very much. So what led up to us getting this farm? I guess you could say I always had a bit of an entrepreneurial spirit. When I was younger, I was selling a Polisac, which was like an ad bag. Well, I wasn't selling it. I was like going door to door with them and getting paid to do that. I delivered newspapers. I would have garage sales. I would like collect all my toys and stuff, and my brother and I, we would try to sell it. Like anything I could do to make money to fund my love for horses. I bought my first horse by myself from working super hard as a teenager, and I always just worked for it. So it's kind of natural for me to think of working to run my own farm, and I had managed a lot of farms. I thought I knew what I was doing. I had no idea. Like I had no idea how hard it was to run an equestrian center. I was so naive. I was 23 years old when we got this farm, and I thought, well, I've managed farms. I know horses. I know how to take care of horses. I know how to teach. I know what I'm doing, so it'll be fine. It's owning a business is very different from managing it. It's just like a whole other ballgame. I made like every mistake possible. Like I've done the stupidest things. I've made the biggest mistakes. I've made little mistakes. But the one thing is, I'm never afraid to take risks. I'm never afraid to try anything. And I'm always willing to learn from my mistakes. If I mess up, I want to learn from it. I want to know, what did I do wrong and what can I do to make sure that never happens again so I can do better. So I think for anybody that wants to start a business, that is key. Your mistakes are what is going to make you, because that's how you learn, and that's what's going to make you better. So super important to learn to embrace your mistakes and your failures. Your failures are stepping stones to success. So going back to it, we had looked at some properties. Now, I lived downtown. I had a little one-bedroom apartment. I worked for Rogers. I loved it. But as soon as I decided that, you know what, I really do want to start a horse farm. It had always been my dream as a child. I kind of lost that dream a little bit along the way, which is another story for another time. But then I got back into it. I bought my first horse. Her name was Royale, and we started, looking at some farms, but nothing really worked out. And I had no money. My family had no money, so I mean, you're kind of limited. And then one day, my brother was in the car with someone, and they were driving by down Woodruff, and they saw a sign for lease. And so we called the number, ended up meeting with the NCC here at the farm. We were one of 60 appointments to see this farm. Everyone wanted it. And they chose us, which is still crazy to think about. And now it's been 13 years. So why did they choose us though? And they chose us because of my vision and our business plan that we put together. So when I say ours, it was my mom and I who started this place. My mom didn't want to move from her place here. And while she wanted to support me, she wasn't too keen on the whole idea because she loved where she lived. But in order for this to work, we all had to move into the house here together because none of us could afford it on our own. So there was myself, my mom, and her boyfriend at the time, my brother, and then it was kind of a crazy time and a crazy household. And this farm, our vision and our plan really is what it is today. I wanted to offer riding lessons, boarding, therapeutic riding. I wanted to be able to provide people with incredible amounts of opportunity to learn and grow with horses. So that's how I grew up, was working hard for everything and being surrounded by horses. And thanks to good people, I had a lot of fun opportunities to ride a lot and just be around and immersed with horses and be able to work and get paid to work with horses. So I wanted to be able to offer that opportunity here. So a lot of our young riders, like they started with us, they're just little guys on little ponies like T-Biscuit, and now a lot of them have become coaches. So, and some have gone on to work at other farms. Some have gone on to become competitors, others owning their own horses. Some even, hoping to own a farm soon or one day. And everything kind of in between. I wanted it to be a farm that would be all inclusive. So I kind of had this idea of what I wanted. And so that all went into our business plan. And they chose us, which I'm still grateful for that. So what was it like? Well, we moved in here with very little. I had my first horse named Royale, so then we called the farm Royale Equestrian Center. I didn't spend much time thinking of the name, and we had a logo that a friend made that we had for years, and I finally just changed it last year to this one. And I love this one because it represents us a lot better. The old logo, it was so nice of them. It was great. It worked, but like half the people couldn't even tell it was a horse in the logo. so we finally fixed that. And we slowly just started building our name. So this farm literally was run down. My house was a former grow up, and there was like split into multiple apartments, and it was a cow farm, and then eventually there were some thoroughbreds here. It was called the nursery. They raised some of the thoroughbreds here, but no riding. It was never open to the public. There was no riding rings. We just had the old barn, some paddocks. A lot of the fencing was old, and just a lot of crap. Like there was crap everywhere. The weeds were so high, like burr bushes everywhere. So I remember like our first riding ring, we just had a push mower. So it took me 3 days to push mow like this little riding ring. And then some friends of ours from a farm I worked at, they had made some jumps. So there were 3 jumps. I still remember what they looked like. So we brought those here. They were so nice to let me have them. So I had 3 jumps and my little push mowed riding ring. And then we got a $10,000 loan with that. We built our dressage sand ring. We got a 1978 4-horse head-to-head horse trailer. It was all steel. It was so ugly. It was always breaking down. It was so ugly. And I remember, so my brother, my mom's boyfriend at the time, had drove down to go pick up this horse trailer and with a Ford 150. And I'm watching it like come down Woodruff. and you could see the truck, like the bed was down, so that it was connected. It was like pushing down on the bed of the truck, and clearly that truck should not have been pulling that horse trailer. But I mean, like, we didn't know anything. I just knew I wanted a head-to-head because horses travel so nicely in head-to-head trailers, and they're always so comfortable. Even the most difficult to load horses travel well in them. So despite it being really ugly, it was safe and functional for the horses. But then we needed a new truck, so yeah, my mistake. And the trailer was so ugly, so it had the name Mid Magic Farm from Bath, Ontario on the side, and we left the name on it for years. Like, we never changed it because it was so ugly. It was so bad. So that's what we did with the $10,000 loan. We bought some stall mats and things like that. My first school horse, there was an ad on Kijiji, and it was, or I think it was Used Ottawa, something like that. And it was like, cheap old horse for sale, has heaves, $500. And I was like, I'll take it. So I took this horse. I'd never seen him. He shows up here. It's in July. And he's got this long, shaggy coat. He's super dirty, and his breathing is like, he's really bad. So we get the vet out. It was Dr. Casey Ringelberg at the time. He comes out and he sees this horse. He's like, Emily, what did you buy? And I was like, well, I needed a horse to keep my horse companion because I don't want to keep him alone. And, if he lives out the summer, we'll give him a good life and we can euthanize him in the fall. And he's like, you should send this horse back. And I was like, well, no, I can't do that. The poor guy, look, they're not really taking great care of him. So he's like, all right. So I got meds for his heaves, and my brother and I gave him a good bath. He was so dirty. His hair was this long, so he actually had Cushing's. So we clipped him, and he just felt so much better. He was thin. He had an old bow. Like, you could tell this horse had been through a lot, but he was so sweet. It was the most beautiful paint. So we got him healthy, and he actually ended up being an amazing beginner school horse for years, and we found out more of his history. He was from Alberta. He came over here during a hay shortage, and just ended up being at an auction, and he's like the sweetest horse in the world. His name was Diego, and he lived for years after that. So I love him. I still miss him. So that's kind of how we started out. Like, I bought one pitchfork at a time. We put stall mats in one stall at a time. Every time we got a new boarder, we would then use that money that they were paying for their first month's board and put it into, getting the farm ready for their horse to come. It was really like just kind of piecing things together. I racked up debt on my credit card, we just kind of got going, and I used to do everything. Which was super exhausting because not only were we trying to get the farm up and running, I was also taking care of all the horses. I was teaching lessons. I was doing it all, and then my mom was doing the bookkeeping and kind of just trying to keep us afloat. So we did that for years, and it wasn't an easy process. There was so much drama. I mean, like, there were people in the horse world, they love talking shit, like they, and it's just unfortunate because, like, there was rumors flying around how the equine herpes virus lived in the soil. That's why there's no horses here for so long, and how I'll never be able to get an arena, and I'll never be able to do this. And I was so young. I was 23 when I started, and just how it would never work, and all these things, and just like the craziest stuff. And people, some people are so mean, but what I've learned is along the way, there's also a lot of amazing people. So for every shitty person, there's like 10 really amazing people. So it was definitely a team effort. My family were all on board, sort of, for the most part. But, like, none of us knew really what we were doing, even though I did know, how to care for horses and all that, and how to teach, although I wish I knew what I knew now. But it was really, really, really challenging. So fast forward, we're going into our 13th year, and now, we're doing well. COVID is a huge setback and a little scary at the moment because we have no income and a lot of horses to feed, and our bills are huge just to feed. But, we'll get through it. Everybody's in the same boat. We're trying to find creative solutions to kind of keep everybody engaged and involved, and we're going to do the best we can do. That's it. So now we're going into our 13th year, and I've just started a second farm. So why? Like, why would I do this? Well, one, I didn't know about COVID. I didn't know it was coming. I had no idea. And I've been looking for another property for a long time. I've kind of had my eye on, different farms that have come up over the years. So fast forward, we're now 13, going into our 13th year, and we decided to start a second farm. Now, I didn't know about COVID, and for a long time, I have considered or thought of getting another farm just because our farm, while I absolutely love it, it is small, so we're a little more limited. And I was trying to get a different property for the past year, but it just wasn't working out. It just wasn't going to happen. It was zone commercial, and there was really no way that we would be able to change that. So the property that we have now, I actually have passed on it multiple times. But then after we found out the one we wanted just wasn't going to happen, I went over there again, took a good look at it, and then called up my cousin Cody and said, listen, like, this place is pretty cool. Why don't you come have a look at it, and let's talk about it. So we did that. He actually loved it and was super pumped and excited. So then we went about getting this farm, and it all happened so quickly. Like, really, we had the month of March to do it, and then April 1st it was ours, and we brought in the Calder family, who I love so much. They have been so supportive over the last years. I mean, they work so hard, and they're such good people. I really couldn't think of anyone better to do it with. So Royale Equestrian Center, our home farm, is owned by myself and my mom, and now the new venture is with myself, my cousin Cody, and the Calder family. So we decided to take this on because it would allow us to grow. There's a lot of things I would love to expand into doing, but I can't because I'm limited due to size and facilities here. So this allows us just to continue to keep growing, to keep more people riding, to get them more involved. Like I told you, I love sharing my passion for horses. It is an obsession. I think it's a healthy obsession. And I just love sharing that. So I'm super excited about the new place. Now, yeah, the timing is terrible, but I also have a lot more time on my hands right now. So I've been just working my butt off over there. The place is a total disaster. It's a mess. The arena had collapsed. There's junk everywhere. Like, they buried everything. Like, you wouldn't believe the stuff we're finding. It's like half in the soil, but it's been empty for a long time. The farm has an incredible history. 55 years it operated as a riding school. Some of Ottawa's most prominent coaches have developed out of that farm as youth. They ran summer camps. They did everything. It was a very positive, welcoming environment. So it's really cool that we can carry on that history and kind of bring it up to today's standards and make it just a really happy, fun place where people can come and enjoy horses and learn all about them and develop some incredible friendships and life skills and hopefully a lifelong passion. So we're now in our first month of that farm, and I have been documenting the process, kind of us cleaning it, getting it ready, and doing all of that and what it takes. And I'd love to show you, what's really cool is kind of like taking a farm from the ground up. So the place has been sitting empty. It's a total mess, and we're completely giving it an overhaul, renovating it. And at some point, we will open probably May of next year. If we're lucky, maybe we'll run a few camps there this summer. But what I didn't do when I first started my farm was really document the process. It just wasn't the thing to do. I mean, there was Facebook, but I don't know, I wasn't really on it or anything. And, it wasn't really a thing to like take a bunch of pictures with your phone and whatnot. So I didn't do it. But this time I get to do it. So I'm so excited to share that journey with you. So this is just, creating more opportunity. The thing with horses is a very difficult industry because it's very low profit margins, and it really is a business built on passion. And you got to be tough to be in this industry. You need to be creative. You need to be friendly, outgoing, kind, have an incredible amount of knowledge in terms of managing a stable, caring for horses, and running a business. One of the biggest pieces of advice I could give you if you wanted to start an equestrian center is work your ass off for years, learn everything you can learn, work at different farms so you can see how they operate, learn how to cultivate quality relationships with people. Make sure you stay very open-minded, and having willingness to learn and pay attention to detail, and study business. You need business. That's the one thing that I really fell short on, and understanding numbers and money and that stuff. I'm not great at it, to be honest, but it is so important. So just learn as much as you can. There are so many aspects of this industry that you need to learn. But if you do that, you can set yourself up for success. So I'm excited to share this journey with you. Thank you for listening to a little bit about my story. If you have any questions or the things you would like me to talk about or share, I'm happy to share it. I have a wealth of knowledge that I'm happy to impart with you. Just tell me what it is you wanna learn about or know, and I'm here for you. I miss everybody. I can't wait to see you at the farm. The farm's just not the same without all our riders here. But we're looking forward to getting back on track, hopefully in the next couple of months, and we'll see you soon enough. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.